What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got another edition of The Drive-In, where I watch recently released movies and tell you guys whether it's worth watching, worth waiting for, or worth skipping altogether. Today I've got another Shudder release, and I've got to say thank you again, Shudder, for constantly bringing us 2020 horror, all the new horror. Coming at you from Shudder is keeping us afloat during these crazy coronavirus times, during this pandemic, and this one is actually a 2018 film, but it's listed on Shudder as a 2020, which is why I wanted to bring it to you guys quickly, but it is listed online as 2018, and it's 30 Miles from Nowhere. I saw the trailer, it looked pretty intriguing, middle of the road, solid trailer, so I figured I'd check this out. The runtime is only an hour and 20 minutes, so let me go ahead and bring you guys the lines from 30 Miles from Nowhere. It is written by Sayana Kafode, I hope I said that right. Directed by Caitlin Kohler, starring Carrie Preston, Rob Benedict, and William Smiley. And it is the story of a bunch of friends from college get together after a long time of being separated and being moved apart, and get back together for one of their friends' funerals, and they stay for a weekend in this cabin in the woods kind of thing. And one by one they start getting picked off, and you've kind of got to figure out what's going on. It is your classic friend back for revenge, or are they? It's one of those kind of movies. First things first, in the positives, there are a couple things in the story that never get old to me. Tried and true formulas. I love any time that, first of all, women writers and directors. I love the fact that this was written and directed by different women. Sayana Kafode, I think, also is one of the actors in this film. And Caitlin Kohler is a woman director as well. Good to see women in the forefront directing right now. That's a positive. As far as the story goes, you're always going to get me to watch when you have a friends reuniting and have a friend that's back to get revenge on their old friends for some old plotline reason, or you have one of the friends killing a bunch of them, and trying to figure out who it is, kind of the murder mystery whodunit thing, when you're attaching the past and a bunch of the events of the past to a current day storyline. That to me is always a tried and true formula. Anytime you have friends who, they're longtime friends, they have chemistry, they've been close for a long time, but they've been separated by life, and now they're back together, and you're involving different storylines where they obviously love each other, but they don't necessarily like each other, or time and distance has separated the group, or they have a bunch of secrets in the group. I've always loved that formula, from Scream, to I Know What You Did Last Summer, to, my book. I wrote a book called Behind Empty Eyes, where this group of best friends gets picked off one by one, and there are a bunch of turmoil and secrets in their town and friendship. Check that out now on my Etsy page if you guys want to buy that. But I'm always going to love the secretive best friend group that has a lot of underlying issues that causes the demise of their group. That is a great story. It never gets old. Another thing that I always talk about on this channel that I love that never gets old, another formula in horror that is tried and true, is the seclusion horror. I love whenever you can take a group of people and stick them all in the woods in some scenic cabin, and you isolate them from the rest of the world so that whatever happens, there's nowhere they can go. They're stuck in this place. They're divided in this house or this cabin. There's nobody that can help them. The cops are literally, as the title says, 30 miles from nowhere. The group is basically this enigmatic character he commits suicide, and he wants to have his funeral out in the woods because he's a very, outgoing, different kind of guy that likes to have a secluded funeral. So right away, you're taking all these characters off the beaten path, putting them in this rustic old cabin where their phones don't work, there's no police, there's no one they can call for help. Right away, you're taking away a lot of the lifelines of the characters, so you're building tension just in the atmosphere alone. That right away is a good tried and true formula that I really enjoyed. I also enjoyed the hour and 20 minute runtime of this thing. This thing runs like 92 minutes. Very svelte runtime. Makes for a pretty solid film. The way it's shot is pretty solid. They use some drone shots. They use some good shots of the forest. The cabin itself is pretty cool. It's rustic, but it looks pretty cool as well. So props to the way this film is shot. Some of the gore as well. Some of the gore that is used in this film stands out, from some animal death, some roadkill, They have the use of some good jump scares, which the sound design helps to kind of make the audience tense. Put some jump scares in there. But that is sort of where the all the basic tropes they use and kind of the ways they use the formulas are done pretty well. But that is kind of where the positives end for me. Writing wise, I didn't love any of the characters. There's like 6 main characters in this film, plus your dead person. And I didn't really love any of them. They're all kind of unlikable. And that's one of the things you run into when you do this kind of chaotic friend group where the friends secretly all don't like each other anymore because they have secrets with each other, is they all have their problems and they're all kind of sniping at each other. And usually you start off the film kind of friendly and you get to know each character, and then by the end they're kind of fighting with each other. These characters kind of start off picking and sniping at each other right away as you learn about their past and why they missed each other's events and why they're no longer close anymore. These characters just start picking on each other and you don't feel the chemistry or the friend group that you would normally feel in this. The acting in this is solid. All the actors do a good job portraying their characters, but the way their characters are written, you don't really have anyone to cheer for. You kind of have one character who's really quiet and kind of chivalrous and kind of down on his luck, so you kind of feel for him, but then he kind of gets super awkward and you find out that he kind of took a job away and did some unethical things to the character that killed himself, so you don't really like that character. You've got the main character in the woods who brings back the other characters, and you feel bad because she's lost her husband, but then she's so awkward and so kind of weird, and some of the stuff she does is kind of unethical, so you really don't like her either. The main character just wants to drink all the time, and she's really naggy. Another character has a lot of charisma, and he's a really good actor, but he's just this kind of like unforgiving ladies man where he's stealing everyone's woman. Even at like 30 plus years old, he's trying to be this adulterer character who's just like this ladies man who has no scruples at all. So all these characters have their tropes which lead into the story, but you really don't like any of them, so you don't care if they live or die. You don't see any progression with them. You don't see them maturing in their older age. The stuff they did in their past is still who they are in their current day, so you can't feel sorry for any of them going forward. Also, pacing wise in this film, for being like 92-minute runtime was not very svelte. It wasn't very tight at all. A lot of things don't pick up in this film until the last maybe 20 minutes. So you're thinking, okay, the movie's only 90 minutes or 80 minutes. I keep saying 92 minutes. It's an 82-minute runtime. It's under an hour and a half, and really nothing is happening. There's a couple of jump scares. You see a couple of shadows in a window for some brief things. You see a couple of animals used for a jump scare. The dog in this film is used well, but for a film that's supposed to kind of be a whodunit / slasher, nothing really happens until the last act of the film. So even though this film has a tight runtime, there's nothing really progressing it because the character progression is not something you really care to latch onto, and the jump scares are nice for what they are. The sound design is used well, but after 2 seconds, that becomes kind of old, and they rely on that same formula for the whole film. So even though it's a small runtime, not a lot is happening. I will say this, I won't spoil the film because it is a fairly new film in the last 2 years, and it is brand new to Shudder, so I won't spoil it. I did like the ending. I did like some of the cleverness they used to make you kind of change and make you think it is something different than it actually is. They do give you a couple of nice twists. I think the person behind it is kind of obvious. I kind of guessed that early on, so that wasn't really well hidden. But there are a couple of twists in terms of who's still involved in this thing and who's not, what they're doing, and how they're using this weekend away in the cabin for their benefit, and who gets blamed and stuff like that. They do pack some nice twists and some clever writing into that last 20 minutes if you can stay connected for the rest of the film. I found myself texting about 45 minutes in and checking my phone, and that's always the sign of doom right there. If you're checking your phone on a film and you're not paying attention, that kind of gets you out of it. So if you can stay invested in the characters and the plot and the scares up until the end, which is hard to do, you will get some nice writing and some nice twists that you didn't expect. So I'd say all in all, this is a solid film. There are some good things about it. Again, there's some decent shooting, decent sound design, decent acting in this, decent tropes in this, pretty clean color grading and stuff like that. So there are some good technical aspects, And there is some clever stuff in the last act of the film that kind of makes you go, oh, pretty cool. So if you can hang around for that, you will like it. Again, some of this stuff has been done better elsewhere, but it is a cool film that is a short runtime. So if you want to check out a fairly new film that is quick and is on Shudder right now, check out 30 Miles from Nowhere. And I am interested to see what Sayana Kafode and Caitlin Collar do going forward, because they have some really solid basics here. And I think they can do some really good work going forward. So I will be checking those guys out, those ladies out, going forward. So if you've seen this film, what did you think? I'm going to give this film a middle-of-the-road grade of 5 out of 10. I'm sorry if that sounds harsh, but it didn't engage me in the way that I'd hoped. But again, there are some building blocks for some future filmmaking stuff from these people. So I'm going to say 5 out of 10. What did you guys think? Tell me in the comments down below. I'm coming at you guys again tomorrow with another review. This week I'm recording Color Out of Space from Nicolas Cage. I'm looking forward to that one. It's on Shudder right now. It's September 1st when I'm recording this, so it is spooky season. September is upon us. Fall is here. I'm doing a lot of reviews in the next 2 months through October. Looking forward to that. Also doing an AEW all-out match-by-match preview and predictions video. So if you guys want some wrestling content, check this channel out as well. Come back, and I will see you guys a few more times this week. Take care. Stay scared.